Welcome to Focal Point. My name is Carla Green. I am the director of the Regional Prevention Center at the Kansas City, Kansas Community College. And with me today, I have Julio Ramirez, who is a member of one of our student organizations here on campus, and he's going to talk to us about that organization and his involvement and what that has meant for him. So, welcome.
Thank you, Carla.
Tell me about your organization. It's got a long title.
It does. It does. Actually, it's Pre-Professional Mathematics and Sciences.
Okay.
It's a mouthful. This organization came to be last year. It was a concern of mine that there was no math and science organization, and I noticed that the different departments in our school had clubs, like the nursing department has the Nurse Association. There's a music club.
The teachers. Yeah.
Right, everything except the math and science department. So I thought, why don't we have a department? Because I'm actually a science major. So I thought, I want to get involved in something outside the classroom. I love my classes, but I want to do something outside, right? So my concern was, let's get something else.
Okay. What's the purpose of the organization?
It's to prepare the students that are going into these professions. It's pre-professional. So students that are going into, say, physics, genetics, medicine. I myself am going into medicine, so I thought this would be a really nice experience to get something outside the classroom.
So what are some of the activities? Have you participated in activities already?
We have. This semester, we're actually going to the Technical Education Center, which is part of the campus here. And what we're doing over there is we got together with Van Powell. He's one of the instructors at the TEC, and he's doing some very innovative work with alternative energy. So that's something that we agreed on last semester to get involved with. So this semester we're in the TEC.
So what are you doing with alternative energy, which just went right over my head, but so what are you doing with that?
We're building concrete batteries that are powered by water.
Okay.
Yes, concrete, and yes, water. There's a special mixture that's put in the concrete, and out of that we're getting a lot of electricity when we put water in the concrete. So we have a copper end and a magnesium end. Copper's positive, magnesium negative. So that's our battery, made out of concrete and water.
And so, with all of the push toward green energy, how does something like that fit in?
Water is one of the most abundant resources on our planet. So, why not use that as one of our energy sources, right? It's overabundant. We can see it anywhere. When it rains, there's water, so we can power our concrete batteries with rain.
So with the batteries, what are some potential uses for it? I mean, can it go in your car? Is it small enough to go in, a cell phone?
One of the challenges that we're going to have to overcome with working in the TEC is not having the high-tech equipment that other laboratories have, right? So we're really working to refine these batteries and make them usable in our everyday lives. Okay. Because the batteries that we're working with right now are, I would say they're a little big. They're about 1 pound.
Okay.
So imagine carrying that with your cell phone.
Right.
You're not going to carry around 1 pound. So we really have to refine these batteries to make them a bit more workable.
So that's one of your projects. What's the benefit as a student here? What's the benefit of being involved in a project like that?
Well, like you said, there's green is being pushed right now. That's a movement right now, green. So we don't have a green green program on campus, and we're really pushing for that. And with the experience that we're getting, the students that are getting from this could definitely spark an interest in instructors and trying to get a program like this. So if someone is interested in the green energy, there's no program here, but they can get involved with our organization and get some experience there.
So when you think of a green program, what would that look like?
We do have chemistry courses here, of course, but they're not centered around innovative green ideas, right? So it would be green chemistry. How can we make less harmful products out of the chemicals that we're working with right now? That's really one of the major focal points I would see in a program.
Okay. So it sounds like in addition to maybe focusing on some things that are green, and obviously that is a push, not just throughout our country, but throughout the world. But it's almost like a shift in the way that we instruct students, because you're making what's being taught in the classroom more applicable to what's going on in the real world. So it's taking some of the skills that I'm learning in the classroom and really applying those to what's going on in life. Which I know in working with students, sometimes it's difficult to make that connection between what I'm learning in the classroom and what I'm going to need for my real life, as some students look at it. And that would ease that transition, I would think, because I can definitely see that connection, and I think students would also.
You know, I would say that you need to have a strong foundation in order to keep moving on in your classes. And that's why we have to learn basic algebra, for example, basic composition, how to write something well.
Right.
Because if you're going to be a journalist, for example, you need to know the basics in order to keep moving forward. And with the experiences that the students in this organization are getting, is applying that basic algebra that they're using in the classroom to something that they will be working with in their, like you said, their lives.
I think it would help keep you focused also, because you see a reason for taking this. When I have taken algebra as a college student, I didn't understand why I needed to take algebra.
Right.
Don't ever plan on using it, but yeah, if I can see that a point, if I can see a reason for being involved in those things, I think that would make a difference for many of our students in the classroom who need to be able to see that end result so that they have something that they're working toward.
Exactly.
I think that would be helpful. So what are some other things that you all are either you've done or you're planning on doing?
What we've got on the agenda is constructing a Mobius strip, and I'm not sure if you know what that is.
Not a clue.
It's a circle with a twist on it, and it only has one surface. For example, let's say you have a cylinder, you have the inside and the outside.
Right.
With the Mobius strip that has a twist on it, there's only one side to it.
And what would you do with that?
We're trying to combine art and math.
Okay.
This would be some sort of sculpture, right? That's what I have envisioned.
Okay.
But we're still trying to get it out into the third dimension.
Wow. So is it a physical, is there a hard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we wanted to really make it hands-on. We want to put a track on it and something that moves along the track to really convey and present to everyone that this is an infinite circle. It's a Mobius strip. There's one side. It goes on forever and ever.
I'm thinking Science City, with elementary school students and getting them engaged and interested in science early. And that seems like that would be a great way to do that.
Well, see, that was our initial thought, was to get the younger generation interested in something like this. Because they would see, oh, it's hands-on, I can touch it, I can move it. But they're not really consciously aware that they're learning about something like this, right?
Yeah, it's a great way to teach concepts to younger students instead of just the big words. What was it that you called it? A Mobius strip?
It's a Mobius strip.
Yeah, that means nothing.
Right.
It means absolutely nothing to me, and it wouldn't mean anything to them.
They see something
but if they
that's
see
moving.
it, yeah, I think that would have a much greater impact with them. I think that is great. So you have done some work with TEC, with the Technical Education Center. Are there other organizations on campus that you're working with? Like for this project you were just talking about, would you work with the art department at all with that, or is that something that's solely the work of your club?
For the Mobius strip, we're trying to get the drafting department in on this because they're really the ones that do the technical drawings.
Right.
So we would really get them involved in this, and I know Professor Galt, he's shown some interest in our project. And like I said, it's still on the agenda. Right now we're focusing on the alternative energy. And the Sustainable Environments Committee here on campus, we're actually a part of them.
Oh, good.
They just became a standing committee under Student Senate. So our organization, the Math and Science Club, we're now a part of the Sustainable Environments Committee. So we are trying to branch out.
That is great. What about outside of campus? Are there things that you've done out in the community?
This Thursday, actually, we're going to White Church Elementary, and we have a quiz bowl for the students there.
Okay.
And we've also got some prizes. Right, there's going to be 2 teams competing, and it's going to be math and science questions.
Okay. And so you all are facilitating? Are you asking the questions?
Yes. Yes.
That is really cool. Good way to reach out to the community.
We're getting them young.
Yes. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation about this new organization on our campus and talk a little bit more about transferring those skills from the classroom to real life. So join us after the break.
There's a saying, do what you love, love what you do. At Kansas City, Kansas Community College Technical Education Center, you can choose from 20 technical programs, affordable programs designed to prepare you for high-demand jobs. You can be prepared for the job you love in 1 year or less. Visit us online at kckcc.edu or call today about the wide variety of technical education programs offered at the Technical Education Center at 2220 North 59th Street, phone 627-4100.
I always pay more than the minimum balance on my credit card.
I just opened an education IRA for my kids.
I never invest more money than I can lose.
How are you saving for your future? Find out more great ways to save for your future and choose to save.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm here again with a representative from the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Pre-Professional Mathematics and Sciences.
Mathematics.
Okay, something like that. One of the student organizations here on campus, and we're going to continue our conversation talking about that group and what some of the things are that those students are doing and how that's impacting their lives. So we've talked about a few of the things that you all have done. What's something fun? Give me a fun activity that you all are doing. Not that the other ones weren't fun, but what's something else that you all are going to be doing here on campus?
Well, I'm also part of Student Senate, and we've talked about how we really want to put St. Patrick's Day on the map.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that most students are ready for spring break and they are ready to get out.
Right.
We really want to put St. Patrick's Day on the calendar as something that students can celebrate. And one of the Math and Science Club's officers is Irish, so we're going to let him take care of one of the events.
Okay.
Which is we're going to be selling floats during the St. Patrick's Day celebration.
Non-alcoholic floats.
Non-alcoholic floats, but there will be ice cream in the floats.
Cool.
And like I said, he's Irish. He might be wearing a kilt that day, so
it's okay.
Yeah, I think that's
good. What's the benefit of facilitating activities like that for students?
It not only lets us branch out outside of the math and science, but we're also embracing our officers' culture.
Good.
Right?
Okay.
He's Irish, and St. Patrick's Day is an Irish celebration,
Right.
so we really want him to feel appreciated, not just in the math and science field, but as a person.
So it sounds like you, it does serve several purposes, but it allows you to reach individuals on different levels, and I think then to reach more individuals. And I know as someone who is not mathematically inclined nor scientifically inclined, to see you all in that different light, because I think when people picture individuals in your organization, if I just hear the title of your organization, I'm thinking pocket protectors, and you're running around with the calculator.
Glasses.
There you go, that are this thick, And I think that's the mental image that many people have. So I think this club is great because you've kind of taken us outside of that box that we've created and that we've put you in. So I think it's great that you've allowed us to see how you really are, and kind of let us in to that part of you. I think that's great. Tell me about, for you personally, you said that you're planning on attending medical school. What is this club? How do you see this club fitting into that particular goal, or does it fit in?
Well, I volunteer at Children's Mercy Hospital, and one of the volunteers there, he's actually president of his school's pre-med club. When I wanted to start a club, I thought, I want to make a pre-med club. And so I talked to Dr. Kramer, and at first he was excited about this, but he said that there's concerns with having a pre-med club in a community college. You're not going to have too many pre-med students. Right? So I tried to really encompass the mathematics, the sciences, right, into this club without targeting the medical students, right?
That makes sense. So with this, I was saying during the break when we were talking, obviously you don't just wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to start a club, and that afternoon, poof, you're done. What's the process that you went through to get this organization up and running?
The process was really finding the dedicated people that would be willing to take on the challenge that comes with being an officer of a club who is known to be dedicated, pocket protectors, glasses, right? There's more to it than, being strict.
Right.
But there is that level of strictness that we have to maintain. And we needed the officers to have that level of strictness, of dedication, right? So,
what were the challenges that you faced in trying to find those individuals here on campus?
Really, challenges.
And maybe you didn't have any.
I talk to a lot of people.
Okay.
I'm social, and I think I have a good judge of character. And I noticed that in the officers that I have now, I noticed that they're dedicated, they're great, and I asked them if they wanted to be officers, and they said yes.
Okay.
So I don't really think I had a challenge finding the dedicated people.
How do you anticipate the group being able to sustain itself? Obviously, you're not going to be here, for the next 5 years. How do you see the group being able to continue?
When you have such a strong group, such a dedicated group, I really don't think that you're going to have much trouble finding other like-minded people, right? And that's not to say that other clubs aren't dedicated in what they do, but I think that the math and science department is growing. So there's going to be a lot more interest in wanting to do something outside the classroom.
And you say that you think that it's growing, and I know that's a personal opinion, but why do you think that is?
Nationally, globally, there's a lot of interest in engineering, constructing, building, math, science, and I don't think it's just going to be KCC growing. It's going to be a global growing.
And there is that stigma that's attached to community colleges, and there are still those who believe that you get an inferior education when you come to a community college. And so, especially maybe for someone who is planning on a professional career like pre-med, pre-law, that this is not where you are going to get a good foundation academically. How would you respond to a statement like that?
I would really say otherwise, but that's because I'm biased. I haven't studied in a university. But from my experiences, coming out of high school, I was used to a lot of student-teacher communication. And when I came here, that's what I got.
Okay.
A lot of student-teacher interaction. And when you're ready to transfer from the 2-year institution to a 4-year, and you start getting into your core classes, that's when the class size shrinks,
right?
I believe.
Yes.
So it's not going to be a huge transition going from small classes to big classes, because the classes at a university are going to shrink.
Right.
So you will get similar instruction, right? Similar teaching. Of course, it will be more advanced as you go along. But I would say that a community college is a great education, mostly for the student-teacher interactions, like I said, right? There's a lot of, your questions can be answered promptly. You don't have to be in a large hall-like classroom. You can just ask the teacher there directly.
Right. So with this group, and I'll have to tell you, as part of student services, I feel very strongly about student engagement. So, but from your standpoint, from a student standpoint, what is the benefit of belonging to a student organization? Is it just a social component, or does it impact your academic side also? How does that interface with everything else that you're doing here on campus?
Well, much like the Mobius strip that we talked about earlier, you're learning subconsciously,
right?
Whether you know it or not, you're learning, but you're also building those lifelong friendships when you enter an organization, right? It's they go hand in hand, being social and learning. I think when you're actively engaging in something, you tend to take a little bit more from it. It's great to hit the books. I love hitting the books, and there's a lot of great knowledge you can take from homework. But there's a lot of knowledge and, of course, friendships that you can take from being part of an organization.
Right. Okay. And there is that research that shows that the more engaged students are in an organization beyond the classroom, the more likely you are to be successful in your college experience. And it sounds like you're finding those same things, that you're seeing the benefits of belonging to a group. So let's say I am in, tell me a math class you have this semester.
Engineering calculus.
Ick. Okay. Engineering calculus. I'm one of your classmates. And I'm not involved in your organization, never heard of it, know nothing about it. You have a minute to tell me about your organization and tell me why I should become involved. What would you say to me?
There are a lot of great things you can learn outside the classroom. It's amazing to get involved. You're getting hands-on experience in what we're doing. We're constructing, we're bringing our books to life.
Right.
Although there's models you can see in the classroom, you're getting hands-on experience in actually making these models, right? So it's an amazing organization to get involved with. You're constructing before you get into engineering school. You're making solutions before you get into chemistry school. You're branching out, which is really what you want to do when you're in your career. When you start your career, that's really what you want to do, is branch out. So why not start now in a community college? right? There's a lot of opportunities in community college.
I think that's great. Now, I have to say, when I heard that this organization was now on campus, I was surprised. I was like, well, that's interesting. What are they doing? What are they going to be doing? But you've brought some light to, as I said, an area of academics where a lot of people shy away from. There are those who have those phobias when it comes to math and science, and we really don't want to have anything to do with that beyond our core requirements. But I think it's great, the opportunities that you're providing for other students, because I agree with you. I think participation really does bring what you're reading in your textbooks to life. It makes it real. I think you might find those students who are more likely to participate maybe even change their attitudes toward math and science courses simply based on their interaction with you all in your clubs, because you see that, okay, there really is something here that applies to me. There is something a little more exciting than what I've thought in the past. So any last comments that you want to make?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. We're glad to be on the map. We really want to get the word out that math and science can be fun.
Yes.
It really can be. So thanks for letting us do that.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for filling this gap that you saw on campus. I think that is great that you did that. So thank you for joining us, thank you all for joining us for another episode of Focal Point, and we'll see you next time.